A loud crash echoed through Eastway Street as a tray of fruits hit the ground. Cars honked, people gasped, and Victor Hale, successful entrepreneur, known for his cold precision, froze in mid-stride. Because right in front of him, his ex-wife, Mara, dropped to her knees, scrambling desperately to gather fallen fruit while clutching a frail little boy who looked seconds away from collapsing. The boy swayed, his legs buckling, and before Victor even knew what he was doing, he sprinted. "Hey, grab the child! He's falling!" someone yelled. Victor swooped in, catching the boy just before his head hit the concrete. Mara screamed and tried to pull the child back, panic exploding across her face. "No! Don't take him! Please!" Victor stared at her, drenched in disbelief. "Mara! Mara! It's me! Victor!" She flinched like his voice burned her, and people around began whispering. Before we continue, if this shocking moment grabbed your attention, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. You won't want to miss where this story goes. Victor tried again, gently. "Mara, what's happening? Why are you—" But she cut him off with a trembling whisper that sliced straight through him. "Please, don't let her find us." "Her?" Victor didn't even get to ask what she meant, because the boy's body went limp in his arms. "Mara, he's burning up. We need a hospital now." Mara's eyes flooded instantly. "No, no, no! Sammy, wake up! Baby, please, wake up!" Victor's chest tightened at the name. "Sammy? How old is he?" Mara swallowed. 8. 8. The same number of years since she disappeared. Victor didn't want to jump to the thought that slammed into his mind, but it hit too hard to ignore. He stared at the boy, Sammy, his pale cheeks, his weak breaths. "Mara," his voice cracked. "Is he mine?" Mara squeezed her eyes shut in agony. The answer was obvious. Too obvious. But she whispered it anyway, like it pained her to breathe. "Yes." Victor's heart shattered and detonated at the same time. "My driver is right there. Come on," he commanded, already running with the boy in his arms. "Sir, what's wrong?" Jude, his driver, shouted as he opened the back door. "Hospital, now!" Victor barked. Jude floored the accelerator the moment the doors closed. Inside the car, Mara was trembling uncontrollably, her hands hovering but too scared to touch Victor, too desperate to protect Sammy, too broken to speak. Victor pressed the back of his hand to Sammy's forehead. He nearly recoiled. "He's on fire!" "Mara, what's wrong with him?" Her voice cracked. "Severe anemia. It got worse last month. I couldn't keep up with the treatment costs. I tried everything, Victor. I worked. I begged. You should have come to me," he said, voice raw. "Come to you?" She laughed, not out of humor but pain. "Your mother made sure I couldn't. She told me if I ever showed my face around you again, she'd—" She cut herself off, eyes wide with fear. Victor leaned closer. "She'd what?" "Mara, tell me." But Mara turned away, clutching Sammy's hand. Victor's heart thundered. "What did she do to make you leave me 8 years ago?" Mara blinked rapidly, unable to hold back tears. "Victor, I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because I had to." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I have without risking everything again." Victor stared, the puzzle pieces swirling with no edges to hold on to. He felt the first spark of something. Something dark. Something that smelled like betrayal. Jude swerved into the entrance of Ridgeview Medical Center, tires screeching. Doctors rushed out with a stretcher. "Severe fever. Weak breathing," Victor shouted as he handed Sammy over. A pediatrician, Dr. Lynette Voss, examined the boy quickly and frowned. "His condition is critical. We're moving him to emergency." Mara grabbed Victor's sleeve as they followed the stretcher inside. "Victor, If anything happens to Sammy—" "Nothing is going to happen to him," Victor snapped, voice breaking. "I won't let it. But you will tell me everything later." Mara said nothing. Inside the hospital room, nurses inserted IV lines into Sammy's small arm, while Victor and Mara stood helplessly nearby. Dr. Voss checked his vitals, then turned to them. "His anemia is severe. He needs transfusion, monitoring, and he needs it immediately. Someone should have brought him in much earlier." Victor shot a look at Mara, not in anger but confusion and hurt. Mara whispered, voice shaking, "I couldn't afford it." Victor felt the world spin. "Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you send a message? Anything?" Mara opened her mouth, but her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, and the color drained from her face. Victor stared. "What is it?" She didn't answer. He snatched the phone from her trembling hand. One message, one line, one threat. "I warned you never to come back, Elena Hale." Victor felt icy rage flood his veins. His mother. His mother had known Mara was back within minutes, which meant only one thing. Someone was watching Mara, tracking her, following her every move. The twist clawed at Victor's throat. "Mara, how long has my mother been threatening you?" Mara shook her head violently. "Victor, please, this isn't the place. Answer me." Her lips trembled. "Since the day I left." Victor staggered back. 8 years. 8 years of threats. 8 years of silence. 8 years of his mother hiding his own child from him. He felt sick, betrayed, furious, and underneath all, terrified. Because if Helena Hale knew Mara was here, then she knew Sammy was alive, and Helena had a way of making people disappear. Victor clenched Mara's hand suddenly. "Stay close. Don't leave this hospital room. I mean it." "Victor, what's happening?" Mara whispered. Victor didn't know how to say it yet. He didn't know how to explain the horrifying thought forming in his mind. But he knew one thing. This was only the beginning. Victor paced the hallway outside Sammy's room, like a man trapped between fury and fear. His fists tightened and loosened, over and over, as Mara sat silently on a plastic chair, her eyes fixed on the small window showing Sammy's unconscious form. Every beep of the monitor inside felt like a punch to her chest. Victor finally stopped pacing and turned to her. "Mara, you're going to tell me everything. Now." She brushed her hair out of her face, her hand shaking. "Victor, please, can we wait? Sammy needs me calm. I can't fall apart now." "You think I'm not falling apart?" Victor hissed. "I just found out I have a son who's dying, a son I never got to meet, never got to raise, never even knew existed. And on top of that," his voice cracked, "my own mother threatened you, forced you to disappear." Mara covered her face with her hands. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I didn't have a choice. You don't know what she's capable of." "Then tell me," Victor said sharply. "Make me understand." Before she could answer, Dr. Voss approached them, removing her gloves. "How is he?" Mara jumped up. "He's stable for now," Dr. Voss said gently. "The transfusion is helping, but we need more tests. His anemia is advanced. I need to ask, has he had long-term nutritional deficiency? Lack of vitamins? Chronic blood loss?" Mara swallowed. "He hasn't had proper meals lately. We've been moving around a lot." Victor's heart clenched. Moving around? Why? Mara said nothing. Dr. Voss gave her a concerned look, but continued professionally. "For now, just stay close. We'll update you as soon as we know more." As she walked away, Mara let out a breath that broke halfway. Victor stepped closer. "What were you running from?" he asked quietly. "Tell me the truth." She shook her head, eyes glistening. It's not what you think. I wasn't running from you. I was running from her. Your mother. Victor's jaw tightened. So explain. Mara hesitated, then whispered. She didn't just threaten me, Victor. She threatened my life. She threatened Sammy's life. Victor felt the world freeze. What? I didn't know I was pregnant when I left, Mara said, voice trembling. But she did. Victor blinked. How? How would she know before you? Because she ran a test on me without my consent. Victor staggered back like he'd been hit. She what? Mara nodded weakly. One morning, I felt dizzy. Your mother insisted on calling her family doctor. They showed up. They said they needed to run some routine blood work because I looked pale. I didn't suspect anything. I thought they were trying to help, but the next day, your mother came into my room and told me everything. Victor's pulse pounded in his ears. What did she tell you? That I was pregnant, and that she would never allow her grandchild to grow up with someone like me. Victor stared in disbelief. Someone like you? Mara, you've never done anything. She shook her head. She made threats, Victor. Real threats. She said if I stayed, if I even thought of telling you, she'd make sure no one ever found my body. Victor felt rage rise so fast, he had to sit down to keep from collapsing. She told you that? He whispered. Mara nodded. She was calm, smiling even. She said I wasn't good enough for her son, that I'd ruin your reputation, that my background would stain the Hale family. Victor covered his face, shaking. My God. And she said, Mara continued, breaking into sobs, that if I ever told you the truth, she'd take the baby from me, that she had enough power to make sure I never saw him again. Victor's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell me this 8 years ago? Why didn't you fight? Why didn't you trust me? I wanted to, Mara cried, but she controlled everything. Your phone, your schedules, your meetings. She blocked every message I ever tried to send. I even came to your office once, but security said you gave orders not to see me. Victor looked up sharply. I never gave such an order. I know that now, Mara whispered. But she made it look like you didn't care. Victor pressed a shaking hand against his forehead. So she manipulated everything. I had nowhere to go, Mara whispered. I left to protect our son, even before I knew he existed. Victor swallowed hard. And all this time, she knew. She knew I had a child. She hid him from me. Mara wiped her tears. Victor, if she finds out Sammy is here. She already knows, he muttered darkly. She sent you that message within minutes. A wave of terror washed over Mara. Victor, she'll come. She'll come here. No, she won't, Victor said firmly. She's not going anywhere near you or my son. Mara looked up, startled by the shift in his tone. Victor wasn't just furious. He was dangerous. Before she could respond, a shadow appeared at the end of the hallway. A tall figure, moving slowly, purposefully. Victor stood immediately, instinct flaring. Mara sucked in a breath. Victor, that's not your mother. It wasn't. The figure stepped into the light. A woman in her late 40s, wearing a dark gray coat, eyes cold and expression unreadable. Victor frowned. Who are you? The woman didn't answer. She simply lifted a badge. Security Bureau. I'm Agent Rena Klein. I need to speak with Mara Dayton. Immediately. Mara went pale. Victor stepped in front of her protectively. Why? Agent Klein's expression hardened. Because Mara and her son are part of an active investigation. One that your mother may have already interfered with. Victor froze. What investigation? He demanded. Agent Klein lowered her voice. The kind that involves illegal surveillance, medical coercion. and attempted abduction. Mara gasped. Victor felt a cold shiver crawl down his spine. "What exactly are you saying?" Victor whispered. Agent Klein held his gaze. "Mr. Hale, your mother isn't the only one after Mara." Victor's breath hitched. "What do you mean she's not the only one after her? Who else is involved in this?" Agent Klein's eyes flicked to Mara, who looked like she was seconds away from collapsing. "Before I explain, we need a private room. Somewhere without cameras." Victor's instincts sharpened. "Why?" "This is a hospital." "That's exactly why," Agent Klein replied. "Hospitals are easy targets. People assume they're safe." Her gaze hardened. "They're not." Victor grabbed Mara's hand. "Come on, there's an empty consultation room down the hall." Mara followed reluctantly, glancing over her shoulder repeatedly, as if expecting Helena Hale to materialize out of thin air. Inside the small consultation room, Victor shut the door quietly. Agent Klein folded her arms. "Mara, I need you to tell him the rest." Mara blinked. "The rest? I've told him everything." Agent Klein shook her head slowly. "No, you haven't." Victor's heart began to pound again. "Mara, what else are you hiding?" Mara turned to him, her lower lip trembling. "I wasn't trying to lie. I was trying to protect you." "Protect me from what?" Victor demanded. Agent Klein stepped in. "Mr. Hale, have you ever heard of the Helix program?" Victor frowned. "No. What is that?" Mara squeezed her eyes shut. "Victor, that's the part I've been scared to tell you." Agent Klein continued. "The Helix program is an underground network used by powerful families to control inheritances, heirs, and reputations. Your mother has been linked to it for years." Victor stared, stunned. "Linked? As in, involved?" "Deeply involved," Agent Klein said. "And 8 years ago, when she discovered Mara was pregnant, she didn't just threaten her. She attempted to recruit her, and the unborn child, into the program." Mara broke down into tears. "I ran, because she wanted to take the baby. Not just to raise him, she wanted to use him. As leverage, as a bargaining chip." Victor felt his spine go cold. "Use him for what?" Agent Klein hesitated. "Victor, your mother has enemies, dangerous ones. She believed taking your unborn child would give her leverage over them." Victor nearly choked. "So she wanted my son, to use him as a hostage?" "As a pawn," Agent Klein corrected. "The Helix program doesn't use words like hostage. They use phrases like asset or ace." Victor clenched his fists. "She's a monster." Mara nodded weakly. "That's why I didn't tell you, Victor. You're her only weakness. And if she thought you were involved, she'd destroy you too." Victor took a shaky breath, trying to process everything. His mother. Threats. Surveillance. An underground program. His son being targeted before he was even born. He turned to Agent Klein. "So why show up now?" "Because," she said, lowering her voice, "someone tipped us off that Helena Hale may make a move tonight." Mara covered her mouth. "Tonight? Here?" "You're not safe," Agent Klein confirmed. "Neither is your son." Victor's jaw tightened. "Then you protect them." Agent Klein nodded once. "That's exactly why I came. But Mr. Hale, are you prepared to stand against your mother?" Victor laughed bitterly under his breath. "After what she's done? I'll stand against her with everything I have." Mara reached out and took Victor's hand. "Victor, she's powerful. She has people everywhere." "At this point," he said softly, "I don't care if she has the whole world. She's not touching you or our son." For a moment, Mara let herself lean against him. Victor wrapped an arm around her shoulders, grounding her shaking body. Agent Klein checked the hallway through the blinds. "We need a plan." Before she could elaborate, Victor felt his phone buzz in his pocket. He pulled it out. One message. Unknown number. He's not safe there. Victor's stomach dropped. What the... The message continued, typing in real time. They're already inside. Mara let out a strangled gasp. No, no, no! Victor, they can't be! Sammy! Victor grabbed her arm. Stay behind me! Agent Klein drew her weapon instantly and positioned herself at the door. We're moving, she hissed. Now! Victor's pulse raced as the three of them rushed out of the consultation room. The hallway was too quiet, too still, terrifyingly empty. No nurses, no doctors, no patients. Mara's voice quivered. Victor, this is wrong. Something's wrong. Agent Klein whispered. They evacuated the floor. Victor froze. What do you mean evacuated? Mara tightened her grip on his arm. Victor, the Helix program clears an area before an extraction. Extraction? Victor repeated, stunned. Kidnapping, Agent Klein corrected bluntly. They sterilize the area so no one interferes. Victor's eyes widened. Sammy! They sprinted down the corridor toward Sammy's room. Halfway there, Victor slowed. The door to Sammy's room was open, very slightly, just an inch. Mara, stay behind me, he whispered. Agent Klein motioned for silence and crept toward the door, gun raised. Victor felt like he couldn't breathe. One step, another, another. Klein pushed the door open with the barrel of her gun. The room was empty. The bed was empty. The IV line dangled uselessly. Mara's scream tore through the hall. No! Sammy! Sammy! Victor felt everything inside him collapse. Where is he? Where is he? Agent Klein scanned the room aggressively. They took him. They moved fast. Mara fell to her knees, sobbing hysterically. My baby. Oh God, my baby! Victor! They took him! Victor's voice broke with raw fury. Who took him? Agent Klein's jaw clenched. If it wasn't your mother, then it was the other faction. Victor spun toward her. Other faction? What faction? The one your mother has been fighting for years, Agent Klein answered. The one she didn't want gaining access to your son. Victor blinked in horror. Are you saying my son is part of some power struggle? Yes, Agent Klein said grimly. And he may be the key piece. Victor's chest tightened as the reality slammed into him. This wasn't just about Mara running. This wasn't just about Helena Hale. This was something darker, deeper, much more dangerous. Mara clawed at Victor's shirt, crying uncontrollably. Victor, we have to find him. Please, please! Victor lifted her into his arms, voice trembling with rage and determination. We will. I swear to you, Mara. I will bring our son back. Agent Klein pressed a finger to her earpiece suddenly. Copy that, she whispered. We need to move now. They're still in the building. Victor felt adrenaline surge through him. Then what are we waiting for? He demanded. Agent Klein turned toward the hallway, eyes sharp. We're hunting them. Before they moved, Victor looked straight into the camera mounted on the ceiling. A camera he knew someone, somewhere, was watching through. If you're still with us, he said softly, but fiercely, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Things are about to get even crazier. Agent Klein grabbed Victor's arm. We move on my signal. Stay behind me, and don't speak unless I say so. Victor nodded sharply, pulling Mara close with his free hand. Her body still trembled, but her eyes had changed, fear mixed with a fierce, desperate determination only a mother fighting for her child could have. Klein peeked into the hallway. Clear, but that won't last. They began down the corridor. Lights flickered overhead. Somewhere deeper in the building, something metallic clanged, like a door slamming shut. Mara whispered, She's here, isn't she? Klein didn't look back. If Helena Hale was here, you'd know. This isn't her style. Victor clenched his jaw. Then who took my son? Klein exhaled slowly. The Shadow Wing. Mara gasped. No, Klein, please tell me you're wrong. I wish I was, the agent muttered. They've been tracking you for months. Victor snapped. Shadow Wing? What is that? A rival division of the Helix program, Klein said. They operate off-grid. No faces, no records, no mercy. If they took Sammy, it's because they believe he's valuable. Victor's voice hardened. My son is not a product. No, Klein agreed. But to them, he is. And if they get him out of this building before we do, he's gone. They reached the emergency stairwell. Klein pulled the door open. A man in a hospital staff uniform lunged out. Klein reacted instantly. She slammed him against the wall, gun pressed under his chin. Identify, she demanded. The man raised trembling hands. I'm a nurse. I'm on night shift. They told us to evacuate. Mara grabbed Victor's arm. He's telling the truth. Let him go. Klein studied the man's badge. Real. She released him with a shove. Get out. Don't stop running. The nurse didn't need to be told twice. Victor exhaled sharply. Klein, we're wasting time. Sammy. I know, she cut in. They'll head for extraction points. Roof, sub-level garage, or the service loading dock. Mara whispered. Where would they take a child? Klein hesitated. Victor saw that hesitation. Klein. Which route? The roof, she finally said. They'd use a quiet airlift. Unregistered. Victor's eyes ignited. Then we go to the roof. They charged up the stairwell. Every floor they passed felt heavier, darker, more suffocating. Mara kept up, even when her legs shook violently. Victor, she whispered between breaths. What if we're too late? He didn't slow. We're not. Another flight. Another. At the final landing, Klein raised a fist. Stop! Listen! They froze. Above them, on the roof, voices. 2 men. 1 woman. A child crying. Mara covered her mouth with both hands to stop her scream. Sammy, she choked. Klein eased the stairwell door open by an inch. Cold wind rushed in. A helicopter sat on the rooftop pad, rotor spinning softly in idle mode. Quiet, almost soundless, built for covert operations. 3 agents in black, tactical gear stood around it. And inside the chopper, a small figure struggling weakly against restraining straps. Sammy. Victor nearly lunged forward, but Klein shoved him back. Not yet, she hissed. You'll get him killed. Mara sobbed quietly. One of the operatives spoke into a headset. Asset secured. Prep for liftoff. Victor's blood boiled. Asset, he whispered, voice trembling with rage. Klein, we're going now. I don't care. I said wait, she growled. And then, the helicopter lights flickered. The rooftop floodlights shut off. The men froze. Mara's eyes widened. What's happening? A second later, a new sound emerged from the darkness. A slow clap. A terrifyingly familiar voice. Well, I see my timing is impeccable. Victor's stomach dropped. He knew that voice. Mara staggered back. No! Klein tightened her grip on her gun. Stay behind me. From behind the helicopter, stepping into the dim light, Helena Hale appeared, elegant, poised, terrifying. Her smile was the kind that could slice steel. Did you truly think, Helena drawled, that I would let another organization take my grandson? Victor whispered. Mom, what are you doing? Helena raised an eyebrow. Correcting a mistake. She snapped her fingers. The 3 Shadow Wing operatives instantly turned their guns. Not on Victor, not on Mara, but on each other. 3 muffled shots. 3 bodies fell. Helena didn't even glance at them. She walked straight toward Sammy in the helicopter. Oh my God, Mara breathed. Victor, she's here for him. Helena, stop! Victor shouted. She paused only long enough to look back at him. Victor, she said lightly, don't be dramatic. The boy is a Hale. He belongs with us, not with her. She nodded disdainfully at Mara. Mara stepped forward despite her shaking legs. Please don't take him. He's sick. He needs treatment, Helena scoffed. He'll get far better treatment under my care than with a woman who couldn't even keep him fed. Victor snapped, voice booming. He's my son. Helena's smile faded. Yes, she said coldly, and that is precisely why he must come with me. Klein raised her weapon. Helena Hale, step away from the child. Helena glanced at her lazily. Agent Klein, still pretending you can stop me? Klein's jaw clenched. Try me. Helena sighed. Very well. She snapped her fingers again. From behind the stairwell door, 2 more operatives emerged, armed and masked. Victor pulled Mara behind him. Klein, he whispered. I see them, she replied. Wind whipped across the roof. The helicopter engine surged. Helena stepped closer to Sammy. That child, she said quietly, is the key to saving this family. And none of you are going to stand in my way. Victor took 1 step forward. I will. Helena looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, her mask cracked. Then, she said softly, you leave me no choice. She lifted her hand and pointed directly at Mara. Take her. Mara screamed as the operatives lunged. Victor roared, charging toward them. Klein fired. Chaos exploded. Wind, gunshots, screams, rotors spinning. Sammy crying for his mother, and Helena walking calmly toward the helicopter like a queen stepping into her throne. Everything fell apart at once. Victor's world narrowed to a single point. Mara. He threw a punch at the operative closest to her, connecting with a sickening thud. She stumbled, but another masked figure was immediately there, swinging a baton. Victor ducked, barely avoiding it, his rage giving him strength he didn't know he had. Klein! Cover Mara! He shouted, weaving between the 2 men like a predator. Agent Klein's shots rang out, precise and deadly. 1 operative dropped. Another dove behind the helicopter skids. Mara was screaming now, panicked, terrified, but Victor reached her side, grabbing her hand and pulling her back just as a bullet grazed the concrete where she had been standing seconds earlier. Helena's laugh echoed over the chaos, soft, deliberate, terrifyingly calm. Impressive, Victor. But you can't stop this. Victor didn't reply. He didn't need to. Every muscle in his body was focused, honed on the task of getting Mara and Sammy to safety. The helicopter's rotors began to spin faster. The masked operatives inside began strapping Sammy in more securely. The boy's eyes were wide, scared, but recognition flickered when he saw Victor's face. Daddy! He cried. Victor's chest twisted. He wanted to leap onto the helicopter deck to rip the straps off his son, but he knew that wasn't smart. Not yet. Not without a plan. Klein yelled over the noise. Roof edge! We can take the scaffolding down to the service deck. That's the only way off without getting seen. Victor nodded, his mind racing. Mara, hold on tight! They dashed toward the far edge of the roof. The wind whipped viciously, almost knocking them off balance. Below, the city lights blurred in a dizzying haze. Helena's voice cut through the wind again. You always think you can defy me, Victor. But family is bigger than you, and bigger than him. Victor froze mid-step. Family? That's not family. That's control. That's... A loud thump rang from behind. The helicopter's cargo door opened. The rotors threw a gust of wind strong enough to push them toward the roof edge. Go, now! Klein barked. Victor grabbed Mara, held her close. They jumped. The scaffolding below creaked and groaned under their weight. Victor's heart pounded as he guided them down, step by step, toward the service deck below. Helena's silhouette appeared above, framed by the rooftop floodlights. "You really think you can outrun me?" she called. Victor didn't look back, not even once. On the service deck, Victor spotted a maintenance hatch leading to a stairwell. He threw it open and yanked Mara inside, pressing the heavy metal door shut behind them. "Where's Klein?" Mara gasped. Victor's eyes darted to the shadows. The agent was covering the rooftop, taking precise shots, keeping the remaining operatives pinned down. "She's buying us time," he said. "We need to move." They ran down the narrow stairwell, the sound of their pounding footsteps echoing like thunder. Victor's mind was spinning, trying to calculate the fastest way to get Sammy before Helena does. Suddenly, a sharp metallic sound, like keys dropped, echoed from above. Mara froze. "They found the stairs," she whispered. Victor didn't answer. He shoved her forward, adrenaline surging. Another set of footsteps pounded above them, the sound of masked operatives descending fast. Victor grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall, spinning to face them as they appeared at the stairwell entrance. He swung, hitting one operative squarely in the chest. The man grunted, stumbling backward. Mara screamed, but Victor grabbed her hand again. "Keep moving!" They slipped into a maintenance corridor. The smell of cleaning supplies and damp concrete filled the air. Victor stopped, listening. Nothing. Silence. He finally allowed himself to breathe for half a second. Mara leaned against him, trembling. "Victor, they have weapons. And she, your mother, is insane." Victor looked down at her, his face hard but tender. "I don't care who she is. She doesn't touch my family. Not today. Not ever." A soft, mechanical whir caught his attention. He turned. A small service elevator at the end of the hall, normally unused, lights blinking dimly. "That's our way," he said. "It goes straight to the underground garage. If we can reach it, we might have a chance." Mara nodded, wiping her tears, a spark of determination in her eyes. "Then we go." They ran, sprinting toward the elevator, adrenaline and fear propelling them faster than they thought possible. Victor's phone buzzed. Another message. Unknown number. "Too late. You cannot stop what's coming." Victor crumpled the phone in his hand, teeth gritted. "I don't care. I will stop it." The elevator doors were ahead. Victor pressed the button repeatedly, heart hammering. Lights flickered. A metallic ding. Doors opened. He pulled Mara in, slammed the doors shut. The elevator rattled downward, slow, agonizingly slow, as the sound of helicopters and footsteps faded above. Victor held Mara close. She clung to him, trembling, exhausted. "We're not safe yet," he whispered, "but we're closer." The elevator descended into darkness, and somewhere, deep in the city, Helena Hale's laugh echoed. Victor gritted his teeth. This is far from over.